Now this is a table with roots, literally and figuratively. What you're looking at isn't just a piece of furniture. It's a living sculpture, a tribute to nature's raw power and human creativity, a fusion between forest and form. Let's start with the base. It's not a carved piece pretending to be a tree. That is the tree. The real root system preserved, cleaned, and sealed, standing there like a monument to strength. Knots, twists, cracks, and burrows left untouched. Because they're not flaws. They're character. They're history. Each root tells a different story. One of growth struggle seasons past. And now they don't just support a tree. They support purpose. They hold space. And that tabletop, just as wild and just as refined. Cut in a natural floral shape like a giant cross-section of a dream. The top is built from interlaid wood planks, alternating tones of light pine and rich walnut. A modern pattern inside an organic frame. Rustic meets refined. Nature meets geometry. The outer edge of the tabletop keeps its bark-like contour, no artificial perfection here. It waves and curves with the freedom of a riverbank. You can almost feel the grain rising beneath your palm. But what makes this piece truly jaw-dropping yet is the harmony. Somehow the rawness of the roots and the precision of the tabletop don't clash, they complement. It's like jazz and classical music in the same song, a conversation between chaos and order. Add in that small extension to the left, a branching tabletop section with a resin cast opening for a potted plant. And now you've got art within art. A living centerpiece in a table made from what once lived. Can we talk about presence? This table doesn't just sit in a room. It owns it. It anchors the space. Not because it's loud, but because it's honest. It's unapologetically what it is. Bold, natural, one of a kind. Put it in a mountain cabin and it feels at home. Place it in a minimalist loft and it becomes the heartbeat of the room. This is the kind of piece designers chase. The kind collectors pay attention to. The kind that makes guests ask questions and take photos. Because no two are the same. Ever. You can't replicate this root system. You can't duplicate those exact cuts, that exact blend of shadow and sheen, that precise flow and the live edge. You can't mass-produce soul, and maybe that's the real magic. In an age where everything is plastic, temporary, machine-made, this table is defiant. It whispers, I've stood for decades, and now I'll stand for decades more. It's more than a place to set coffee. It's a place to connect, to rest, to remember. It's not just a table. It's a conversation starter, a storyteller, a time capsule made of wood and wonder. Here's a piece that proves one powerful truth: simplicity is an art form. At first glance, this vase may seem modest, even unassuming. No elaborate patterns, no bold contrasts, no flashy colors. But step closer. What you'll find is quiet craftsmanship, deep intentionality, and the kind of beauty that doesn't need to shout because it knows exactly what it is. This wooden vase is hand-turned from solid hardwood, shaped into a graceful hourglass silhouette. A narrow neck flows gently into a rounded base, while a soft collar defines the transition like a subtle nod to classical form. The finish? Glass smooth, highly polished, reflective yet warm. It catches light like still water, giving off a soft amber glow. Every reflection dances across the surface like it's alive. But the real showstopper here is the wood itself. Just look at those grains. Swirls of golden brown waves of honey and copper, the kind of natural variation no machine can replicate. This isn't painted. This isn't stained. It's simply revealed. The maker didn't try to improve the wood, they just let it speak. That's the difference between craft and commodity. And if you look closely near the belly, there's a faint seam, perhaps a natural inclusion, or the mark of a repaired crack. But instead of hiding it, the artisan chose to finish over it, to embrace the imperfection. That decision, that's where soul lives. In Japanese philosophy, there's a concept called wabi-sabi, the appreciation of beauty that is imperfect, impermanent, and incomplete. And this piece feels like that. Grounded, real, honest. Place it on a shelf and it adds quiet elegance. Use it as a flower vase and it becomes functional sculpture. But wherever it stands, it invites touch, reflection, stillness. In a fast world, this vase is a slow moment. A reminder that simplicity, when done right, is never boring. It's timeless. In a world full of sharp lines, glossy finishes, and mass-produced furniture, sometimes the most powerful presence in a room comes from something raw, something simple, something true. And this is that presence. What you're looking at is a solid wood slab table, not carved, not shaped, not overly engineered. Just a slab cut from a real tree placed on four-turn legs and allowed to simply be. It's more sculpture than furniture, more earth than design. Let's start from the top. That thick, rich slab is the soul of this piece. Left mostly untouched, it still bears the markings of nature knots, cracks, uneven edges, the things most manufacturers would sand away, hide, or throw out. But here, those imperfections are celebrated. They're the point. This isn't a mistake, it's a philosophy. The Japanese call it shizen, the idea that natural things carry their own form of elegance. You don't need to fix them, you just need to see them. Look at that dark, wavy grain, deep chocolate browns, and weathered amber tones. You can almost feel the decades this wood endured. Rain, wind, growth rings, now frozen in time and given a new life indoors where it invites peace. It's not loud, but it speaks. The legs beautifully turned, rounded, soft in contrast to the rough-cut top, like modern art balancing on ancient roots. The choice to keep them light in tone, almost creamy, adds warmth and lightness to the otherwise bold presence of the slab, and the height intentionally low. This isn't a dining table. It's not meant for grand displays or elaborate meals. It's for moments. A tea table, a quiet reading space, a platform for incense candles or meditation. This is furniture that lowers itself, inviting you to slow down, sit close, breathe deeper. There's something profoundly humble in that. And notice the setting. A fuzzy rug underneath, a wooden wall behind. The shadows, the textures, the asymmetry of light, all work together to draw you into something slower, something grounded. This is furniture that doesn't command attention. It earns it. Not because it's flashy, but because it feels real. Place it in a minimalist home, and it becomes the focal point. Place it in a traditional setting, and it blends like it's always been there. And it's more than beauty, it's story. Because this isn't just a piece of a tree, it's the memory of a forest. The echo of wind through branches, the rhythm of nature turned into structure. And now it holds space for you, for thought, stillness, and presence. In a time where everything moves fast, where new is manufactured daily, this table is ancient. Not in age, but in spirit. It doesn't need perfection, it rejects perfection. Because it understands something we sometimes forget. Real beauty is never flawless. It's flawed, weathered, unexpected, and deeply undeniably alive. When light meets wood and imagination meets craft, something extraordinary happens. This vase is that moment. At first glance, you might think it's painted ceramic, maybe even glass. But look again and you'll discover this is a solid wood vessel, hand-turned, hand-polished, and hand-inlaid with a radiant design that's as bold as it is uplifting. What we have here isn't just a wooden vase. It's a burst of sunshine captured in form. Let's start with the shape. The body is soft and rounded with a gentle waistline that curves inward before flaring at the rim. It feels organic, almost floral, like a tulip in bloom or the swell of a wind-blown sail. There's nothing rigid about it. Every contour flows like music. But then comes the art. Across the front, a blazing red sun is set near the shoulder of the vase, not centered but off to the side, creating movement and asymmetry. From that red sunbeams of color, fan out curved slices of orange, gold, ochre, and brown, each one inlaid with precision, using contrasting woods and dyed veneers. These aren't painted lines. They're crafted lines, built from different materials, shaped and placed like puzzle pieces in motion. That's not easy, that's not fast. That's craftsmanship with vision. The result? A design that actually feels like light. Not static, but spreading, radiating. Like the moment the sun crests the horizon and shadows begin to retreat. And look at the background. Instead of a plain tone, the wood body is dyed with a warm coral pink hue, soft and inviting, but just unusual enough to make the viewer lean in. It gives the piece a contemporary edge. Not rustic, not old-fashioned, but modern, fresh, alive. And yet nothing about it feels loud. It's cheerful, yes, expressive, but it doesn't scream for attention. It's the kind of artwork that brightens a space without overpowering it. Imagine this in a modern home by a window where real sunlight could hit it, or in an art-filled room placed beside bold paintings and sculptural lighting. It would fit right in, not just as decor, but as a statement, because that's what this piece really is. It's a statement about joy, about energy, about celebrating color, motion, and optimism through one of the oldest materials on earth, wood. We often think of wooden art as brown, traditional, grounded. But this vase reminds us wood can also soar, it can sing, it can dance, it can be light, and that's what makes this so special. It pushes the boundaries of what we expect from a wood-turned piece. It merges fine craftsmanship with fearless creativity. There are no templates here, no mass production. This is the work of a true artist, someone who saw not just a block of wood but a canvas, who didn't ask what should I make but asked what can I say, and what this piece says is joy. Pure, radiant, handcrafted joy.